Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be comparing a 401A Tremor to a 402A Tremor, and to basically answer the question of whether or not the 402A is really worth the extra money. With these two particular trucks, there's like an $8,000 price difference. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with both of the Tremors. Check out the inventory link below. Let's get into the video. Now let's pop onto the hood of both the trucks. So starting over here with the more loaded up Tremor, we have the twin turbo 3.5 liter V6, goes through 10-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 400 horsepower and then 500 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is 16 around town and then 20 on the highway. And guess what? This Tremor has the exact same powertrain, exact same fuel economy figures, power outputs, everything is identical under the hood. So the more expensive Tremor is not buying you anything else under the hood compared to the less expensive Tremor. But anyways, that's all. Now let's go over the front ends of both of the Tremors. We're going to start off with the more loaded up Tremor. So you guys can see we've got this really cool accenting here at the top of the hood. But the thing to pay attention to is the lights. So we've got the LED accent light. Notice we've got the projector bulbs, and then the darkened front grille with the darkened Ford logo. And we've got the cool gold accenting, and then the fog lights down below, and then the tow hooks right here with the skid plate. Looks really cool. It's exposed, kind of like what you have with a Raptor. Now coming over to the less loaded up Tremor, everything is identical. So you've got the hood, the accenting, darkened grille, darkened logo, except the headlights. Notice we have reflector LEDs instead of the projector bulbs, so that's really the key difference. Everything else though is the same here at the bottom, so there isn't any difference other than the lighting. And anyways, there's the front end of the less expensive, more expensive. Now popping over to the side, we have the same exact tire and wheel setup, 275mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. Now popping back over to the front, you guys can see exact same tires on both of the trucks. And then the suspension setup is identical between both of them, so they get a little bit of a lift compared to a regular F-150, upgraded shocks as well. I kind of talk about that more in my full review here on the Tremor, so go watch that if you haven't seen it. Notice the logos here on the side, identical, and then the mirrors, there's a difference. Notice that we just have the plastic here, whereas this is body painted, so it looks a little bit nicer. Same steps on both of them. And then here at the back, again, like I said, setup is the same, you guys can see, with everything here in the rear with both of the trucks. And then we even have same Tremor logo. So there is a little bit of a payload difference. 1681 for the payload there, 1548 for the more loaded up Tremor. So if you get a less loaded up Tremor, you have a higher payload. The other big difference here, notice the taillights here on the less loaded Tremor compared to the more loaded, you get the full LEDs. But notice all of the logos and everything, the recovery hooks, the exhaust tips, all of that is the same here. In the rear, this one has a receiver hitch on it, which is pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, that's all the same. And then here in the bed, you guys can see the LED bed lights, and then the LED lights there at the top there with the camera, and then we also have the full outlet there on the bed with the bed step. And then coming over here to the less loaded up Tremor, notice we still have the camera there in the center, and then here in the bed we still have the LED bed lights. So again, not really a huge difference. The thing is just the taillights and the payload. Now let's pop into the interiors here with both of the Tremors, starting over here with the more baseline Tremor. Notice the really nice trim here at the top, and then the padding going to rest your arm, and then the dark metallic gray with a cool design right there. Speaker for the sound system down below. And with the seats, you've got the mixture of the cloth with the leather here on the side, and then notice you've got the contrasted stitching. Got regular floor mats, and then you guys can see here with the vents, with the power outlets, all that fun stuff. And then notice that does not pull down or anything like that. And then close that up, open up the more loaded Tremor. Notice that the door panel is, well, identical actually. That's pretty cool down there with the trim. Now the seats, obviously there's a big difference. Full leather here with the Tremor logo, perforated leather in the center, really nice piping, so the seats look a whole lot nicer. Floor mats are the same though. Notice we got heated seats here in the back, and then notice that does pull down to be a little cup holder, so there is that other distinction. But yeah, that's the back, so see ya. So here's the door panel of the less loaded trim. You guys can see the material here and then just down below. All of your window controls, the door lock and unlock again, speaker for the sound system. Talk about that more later. Notice we got the seats here again with the cloth in the middle with the Tremor logo. You guys can see all that. The power adjustment, got the pedals right there. Pedal adjustment, we've got the parking brake light controls, lights outside either end. Tailgate drop down, it's automatic. Steering wheel, which is manual. And there's where we'll look before we pop into the, we'll call it the entry-level Tremor for today's video, even though it's not technically, but whatever. So here is the steering wheel in the quote-unquote entry-level Tremor for today's video's sake. Again, notice the contrasted stitching, all the controls here for the center, and then we've got this for the cruise control, voice command, volume controls, all that fun stuff. Got the stock for the turn signal, windshield wipers. And then here is the gauge cluster right here. So you've got that screen there in the center. Pay attention to the gauge cluster. It's kind of a big distinction between both of them. You guys will see in a moment. But yeah, that's everything for that gauge cluster part. And then as for the drive modes, we've got our normal, tow haul, eco, sport, and notice the animations for that as well, how those animations look, because that's another big distinction. And then deep snow, sand, mud, ruts, and then our rock crawl mode as well. And then popping over here, notice we've got our auto stop start. This for the camera, the parking sensors, the hazard lights, stability control, and then kind of like our off-road cruise control. As for the camera system, notice we've got the full bird's eye view with all the different viewpoints, and then we have like a million different viewpoints here with the truck. Like you can literally see out of every single angle. We've got the bed cam, we've got the auxiliary cam, we've got the receiver hitch camera. Like again, literally every single camera. You could not ask for more from a truck from a camera system perspective. And then this one does have the big display, so like you can, well, if you actually pull, you can slide across for the screen. Man, you know what? We need to fire me because apparently I don't know how to work this stuff. Okay, so you grab the tab. There we go. You got to click on it. Okay, you know what? I'm fired. Anyways, you guys know touchscreen's amazing. Response time is amazing. You just have to know how to work it. Man, why is that so finicky? That's weird. So the other one was click and this one's grab. You know what? I'm confused. Let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, that's that. Also trail turn assist, which is a really cool function, by the way. Notice we've got our trailer brake controls right here. We've got our locker in the rear, and then our driveline select has 2-wheel high, 4-wheel low. Dual zone climate controls. We've got heated seats and all of our analog controls right there for like the radio, all that stuff. Phone holder right here. And notice that there is like no covering or anything. It's just kind of like all open. Yes, we do have the shifter that folds down. Interestingly enough, this is regular center console. It's not like the flip out one. It's just the regular center console, but the shifter still folds down nonetheless. Manual mode, a couple more cup holders, stitching at the top, and then notice with the glove box, that whole situation. And then look at the trim there, really nice. And then here at the dash as well, regular mirror, and then, well, you guys can't see, but we've got our auxiliary switches here, all at the top, no center for anything like that. And then we do have a power sliding window, which is definitely nice. But yeah, auxiliary switches, fun stuff, and there's 6 of them, which is very important. But that's for the entry level. Let's head over to the fully loaded. Now here's the door panel in the loaded up Tremor. Again, notice material use is all the same, and this texture right here is definitely pretty interesting. Notice that's all the same except memory seats. And then we've got the Bang & Olufsen sound system, so notice the speaker looks a lot different. And we have a speaker in the headrest, so another benefit. You guys can see the design there with the seat, and then notice the adjustments there. Pedal adjustment, or sorry, pedals rather, the pedal adjustments just up above. All these controls right here, pretty much the same between both of them. Steering wheel is automatically adjustable though in this Tremor, and there's where I'm gonna look before we pop in. So I'm just going to try to focus on the differences with both the trucks. So again, everything's pretty much the same from a steering wheel perspective. Now we've got the full digital gauge cluster here in the more loaded up Tremor, so that is a big distinction, so it looks significantly different. And then especially when you go through the different drive modes, notice the animations for those drive modes are also significantly different, but we have like all the same drive modes. So that doesn't change, it's just that you get the cooler animation when you get this full digital readout. Now aside from that, notice that up here, well, the controls are kind of placed a little bit differently here. So we've got our stop start camera, we've got the hazard lights. Notice the off-road cruise controls right there, and the stability control is right there. So kind of, I guess, like different placing for the buttons. But anyways, camera system, that is also identical. So we have all of the different viewpoints, just like the other Tremor. And then infotainment system wise, this all functions the same. And let's see if this screen is as finicky. Oh, this one has plastic on it, so it's not even gonna work. You know what? We're gonna move on, people. Okay, anyways, climate controls down here with the radio controls, heated and cooled seats. That's another big distinction. We have cooled seats in this one, whereas we didn't in the other one. And then also we have four-wheel auto in this one, whereas the other one we didn't. Still get the locker, still get the trailer brake controls, all that stuff. And then if you guys are wondering, we still get the trail turn assist as well, heated steering wheel. And then notice we have a covering over this with the more loaded up Tremor that looks really nice. And we've got all of our storage space in there. Shifter folds down, but this one has the workbench center console, so that is pretty cool. But notice that this is all the same, dash, all that kind of stuff, pretty much all the same, except again, Bang & Olufsen sound system, so it looks a little bit cooler. Glove box system, all the same. And then here at the very top, we still have the auxiliary switches, which is all the same, but the cool part is we do have a full panoramic sunroof in this, and then yes, power sliding window, that is unchanged. But yeah, that's all for the top of that. Now let's quickly get into pricing. So the 402A, about $68,000 for the price, and then the 401A, about $60,000 for the price. So there's about an $8,000 price difference. And you know what? I'm gonna pick a winner for today's video since they're both the same truck. I feel like the 401A is a little bit of a better value. Now, obviously this truck in the blue color looks fantastic. You guys know I'm a huge fan. The interior's nicer. Like, it's a bunch of nice features. I just don't think it's $8,000 nicer. Like, you get pretty much most of the same stuff with that package for $8,000 less. So the white one wins today. Now that's gonna sum things up for our video comparing a 401A Tremor to a 402A Tremor. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with both of the Tremors. Check out the inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.